welcome to the Ripple Effect. I have two of my very sweetest and dearest friends, Rachael and Michelle, on the podcast with me today. And we're in the series.
What up, dog?
We're in the series about relationships and friendships, and I'm just so excited to have them on. Hey, you guys.
Hey.
Hi.
It's been so long since we've seen each other in person, and we get to see each other next weekend, but that's just a total side note.
Woo!
So, Rachael and Michelle, just jumping right into it, how did y'all meet, and how did y'all even become friends?
I don't even know who this Rachael person is.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's a good point. Who the heck is Rachael?
I've never heard of her. Well, we met in Gainesville, Georgia, for the World Race, and it's a weird situation. You go in, you don't really know anybody, and, you just make friends all kinds of different ways. And for me, we were in a simulation where you lose your luggage. This makes me really uncomfortable, and I was the one that lost my luggage. Find a partner. I was just going to wait for whoever was last and then be with that person. And it happened to be Rachael.
Look at that.
I did the exact same thing. I didn't want to choose any favorites, and I didn't want to be like, I'm favoring this person over this person. And so I also wanted to wait to see who was last.
I did not do that, so kudos to y'all.
I don't think I knew that you did that, Michelle. It's funny.
Well, even the first night when we stayed together in our tent, I always go into situations with a new person with at least like 3 questions in my mind, like of what to ask them. And the first thing I said to Rachael when I was in the tent, I grabbed her hat and I said, "We're going to need to talk about this hat." And it had the word Sedona on it. And she's like, "Oh, yeah." She just went on and on. "I went to Sedona." And I was like, "I've been to Sedona." And so it was a really good, starter conversation of all of our adventures that we've taken similar places.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And then from there, so she lost her luggage, so I had mine. So we had our tent that didn't have any protection, and it rained like crazy the entire training camp 10 days. Pretty much all 10 days were downpouring. And so this night wasn't that bad. I guess the tent, that was probably the last good night of the tent, because after that I had to put a tarp over it, and people were worried I would not be able to breathe because I had a tarp over my tent. So anyway, we were in this tent, and there was just a little puddle by the morning. And so we only had my bag, so I had an air mat, so I gave her the air mat, which was good, because she definitely, I think, is a little bit more a high-maintenance sleeper.
Okay.
She needed her
Very
Benadryl.
appreciative, and I did not want to argue. I will take the air mattress. Thank you.
I gave her Benadryl. And I guess you didn't have your eye patch that night because you didn't have your bag. Eye patch, whatever you call it, a sleeping thing.
My sleep mask.
Sleep mask.
That says "Do not disturb."
You did. You wore that thing a good bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like my sleeping.
That is true. You like your sleep. So, super random question. First impressions of each other.
Well, I guess that was the first time that's my first memory of meeting Michelle was I totally waited till the end because I didn't want to pick anybody. I kind of wanted to be picked, And then I was like, oh, she's the one left. Cool, it's a girl because we can't share a tent with a guy. And so I think at first I thought she was quiet. I knew that if she was quiet, if I got to know her, I'd get to see what she was really like. I remember thinking that. And so, that night she was just kind of quiet and chill and just Michelle with her cool Joe voice. But then after that I realized how hilarious she is, and definitely not as quiet or shy as I thought maybe at first.
That's great. Michelle?
I thought that this girl was wild and crazy. No, that was before I knew the real Rachel. Rachel just has these really cool ways of like thinking about life and making it fun, and so I was like, comfort zone. So
That's
know
cool.
what? This girl's gonna help push me out of my comfort zone.
And did that happen?
Oh, yeah.
Almost every single day of the race.
Proud, real proud. So, how long were y'all together on the race?
We only had one team switch on a race, so we only were on 2 different teams, and she was with me on both teams. And our race ended early because of freaking COVID.
COVID.
We were together for 9 months, 9.5 months we were together, every single day. There was like, during that time, I think we spent 1 weekend away in San Jose, maybe another one. And we were like, I don't even know what you're doing. What are you doing? We didn't know what each other was doing, and it just felt weird.
So when did y'all know, yeah, it took y'all a little bit to get to know each other, but when did y'all know, like, you know, this chick's cool. I'm going to be her friend. Like, this is going to work.
I think I thought it in the tent, but I knew it in Nicaragua. But I actually, because I say in the tent, because I know when you had to fill out, like, they asked you, like, who would you want on your team? I know for sure I put her name down. So I know I thought she was cool, but I knew for sure when we were in Nicaragua.
Yeah, I would say the same for me. During training camp, you know, you don't really know anybody, but you just have people that you think that you would be, like, chill with, you know, that could be your friends. And so, yeah, I wrote Rachel down, too, for that first team, hoping that she would be on my team, because I thought she was really awesome. And for me, it was in Nicaragua where, you know, I'm still getting to know everybody on the squad and still trying to figure everybody out. And I was more reserved. She would always make sure that I was with her, always pulling me out of, and just like of my comfort zone, out of my head, and just saying like, hey, I'm just hanging out with these kids over here, why don't you join us? And I'm like, oh, okay. And then, you know, it ends up being really fun. So
Oh yeah, and then we got to where you got to do like a lead a art craft for the kids too.
mm-hmm.
We had to teach them drawing and stuff.
This is just another example of Rachel pushing me out of my comfort zone. But I remember being like, Rachel, I really need your help. And she's like, no, you don't. And I'm like,
No,
like,
no, you don't.
Do this.
You do not need my help. You will be fine. The hard push.
Yeah, and she did great.
That's awesome.
I was there, but I didn't talk much. She did it.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like my frequent goal to just, come on, Michelle, let's go. Where are you going?
Where are we to going?
Where are we to going?
So, if you had to think back to whether it's a country or a moment or just one thing, where would you say is one moment that you either learned something from each other, pushed each other out of your comfort zones in a good way?
I think I always think about that one night in Morocco. Come on, Michelle, it's good. It's good because I got a couple. I just thought of it. Yeah, because first of all, before I get into that, Michelle is just really good at listening. That's just something I always learn from because I'm very more quick to talk and slower to listen, which I should be the opposite. And so she's more of a listener and an observer and then talk, and she processes things differently too. But there was so that's something I definitely always learned from her. But I do remember there was just this moment where I was having some conflicts with a girl, and Michelle said something too that then made her feel uncomfortable. And then she was just like probably the most uncomfortable I've ever seen her because she hates conflict, but she came out and said something which took a lot of guts for her to come out and say. And then she very, very quickly regretted it and wanted to retreat. And I was like, no, you're going to stay here and we're going to talk about it with everyone. And so it was just kind of like, it was a moment where I don't know, it was just, I just felt really proud of her for doing it, even if it was like a weird timing. I was just proud of her for getting out of her comfort zone and doing it. So that's a time where I definitely saw her doing that, and it ended up being better because we all got to like talk things out, and I feel like in friendships you can grow more as like, so I think our team grew as a whole because of that moment and her saying what she felt, and there was nothing wrong in her saying that, and then us talking all about it. And I think that's just way better than anybody keeping their thoughts to themselves, because they're feeling to themselves, especially if they feel that strongly about something. It's just kind of a way to be real, to put it all out on the table, and then we can talk about it.
I agree. That was one of the most uncomfortable moments I've felt on the race. But I do agree, though. I really do agree. Like, even though it was uncomfortable, our team grew so much that night that I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, it happened, yeah, but it was. I think it was exactly what our team needed in that time.
Well, I had a feeling that was going to be brought up today. Yeah, it was a moment where I learned that I need time to process. And by meaning time, I need like to step away, take a couple hours, whatever, come back the next day. But in that, it's just kind of funny because that moment in Morocco has got brought up so much, like, since I've come home from the race, in my friendships now, where some kind of conflict arises, and I'm like, wait a second, my first reaction is that I'm really upset, and I don't want to say anything that I don't mean, and I'm like, let me process everything that you're saying, and give me tomorrow afternoon, and I will come back and talk through it. So yeah, my most uncomfortable moment of the race, and I'm the one that did it, but it brought the most growth, I think, too, because of it. So
That's really cool. Thinking on actions before doing them is a huge important thing to learn from. So that's really cool.
And that's exactly the lesson. Yep.
You got anything on Rachael, Michelle?
Oh, I got lots of dirt on Rachael.
Oh, jeez.
No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't say that there was a moment. There's not anything that I can think of specifically, but just kind of looking at everything a little bit brighter. Everything can be fun. I see Rachael as somebody who's very joyful and exciting, and she's always including everybody, making sure everybody feels welcome, and also taking something so simple and making it fun. And I think that's what I like to do now, is I'm like, okay, in different situations, how can I make this fun? How can I make this enjoyable? Like, what would Rachael do?
That's such a good question to ask. I like that. What would Rachael do? In this moment, right now, what would Rachael do? Such a good question.
I think something I've learned from Michelle, which I was kind of answering that too, but to learn from Michelle as well, because it made me think of listen and observe and processing before talking, but also just the way that she is intentional with people, and the way that she thinks a lot about what they would like. Like, she is just a really good at anyone in her life. You could say, okay, plan the perfect gift for this friend, and she can have something you would never think of, and she could just think of it so thoroughly and remember details about that person that I would never remember. Just showing that she pays attention to what people say and what their interests are, because she cares about them.
I like that. It's a good representation of you, Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah, a story that I'm going back to Rachael now, but just kind of showing you a little bit about Rachael and her character, and just her love for people around the world. Something that will stick with me forever. I always wonder, I'm like, where's Rachael? What is she doing? Blah, blah, blah. We didn't always have to be together, but we were always wondering, where is she? And So it was when we were in Ethiopia. I remember looking around like, where's Rachel? Well, I walk out into the field, and she always brought with her her little blanket, her little towel, and what else did you have? Okay, well, had her little towel on the ground, and she
Post-its and like the little fake plant.
The fake plant went with us everywhere, and she had little Post-it notes, and she had all the kids in the village.
Oh, candy, yeah.
Yeah, surrounding her, and it was the cutest thing because I walked up and she was giving each of them a Post-it note with a word that she wanted to inspire them or encourage them, and I was just almost in tears because I was like, oh my gosh, this is the cutest thing I've ever seen. The kids are loving it. They're getting candy. They're like getting encouragement, and they don't even really realize, just to see how much like she loves kids, and just seeing what she brings to the table was really fun.
That's super cool.
And I was happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, Michelle came in on that too. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And she got to give out some Post-its too.
I just pop up into random people's lives at some point.
You do.
But she just always welcomes me.
That's very true. Very, very true. So what would y'all say in your friendship is one of the most challenging times that y'all had together as friends, that y'all struggled with? Something that was really challenging for y'all?
I think I'm not really, I don't really know if I have particular moments, but we all got some flaws, and one of my flaws is that I guess I just like, the closer I get to somebody, the more I'm willing to show them how I feel that are like negative feelings, I guess more impulsively. Like I feel like I show irritation or I show impatience, I guess, more easily. And I feel like there was a moment, I can't think of one, in Costa Rica, where I made Michelle feel like I didn't want her around. And because I was kind of in a mood. So I think it's just learning each other's moods and knowing like there are moments where we do need to our moments to ourselves, but it doesn't mean that I don't love her any less. It's just needed that moment. But I do remember kind of hurting her feelings in Costa Rica by making her feel not wanted in my space at the time. So,
and how did you grow from that?
I was having trouble in Costa Rica.
Costa Rica was its own thing in a nutshell. We were all together all the time, but we never had the space apart. Costa Rica was a weird month.
I just felt locked and trapped, and it was not easy for me. I'd be like excited to take the trash down the street. I'm like, let me do this by myself. We were told we're not supposed to go anywhere alone. Nobody lives on this mountain. Just let me take the trash down the street. I was struggling. I think we just got to more. I don't remember another time where I was ever irritated with Michelle, so I don't really remember, but I think we just would communicate more before I react.
That's
but
cool.
I can't really remember another time after that.
That's
well,
fair.
I know people, by this point, we're on month, 7, 8, and we're in Nepal, and also we're on our second team at this point, and there was just a day that Rachel was just having a bad day, and
oh yeah,
it was, I've never seen her like that. And so it was funny because the rest of the team is looking at me at one point when Rachel left the room, and they're like, what do we do? And I was like, why are you looking at me? I've known her just as long as you have. I don't know. I was like, I've never seen her like this. I don't know what to do. And so just learning, and learning the moods, different people's moods. I mean, I know I had mine. I can't think of any specifically right now, but it was just funny that it got to that point, a little more than halfway through the race, and we tried to keep our friendship on the DL for
that
a
did
while.
not happen.
We tried.
And it goes
new.
It goes back to that first time when there was the whole, like, luggage thing at training camp. Like, we both didn't want, for me, I didn't want to show favoritism. Like, not that everyone's trying to be my friend, but I didn't want to be like, you're the one, you're my friend for the race. Like, I wanted to be open to be paired with anybody, and I think that we always had that in our mindset where we're like, we don't want anyone to feel like they're not a part of this tight friendship. So
no, I definitely agree. I did the polar opposite. I shared a hotel room during parent lunch with Anna and realized that we were the only two with both of our bags still, and we didn't know what to do. So Anna and I shared the tent together, and so we found somebody that we knew, and we were like, we're going for it. But yeah, wild memories. I would definitely say, even from training camp on, seeing y'all in Costa Rica and being on that first team with y'all, and even to the end and to this day, I would say y'all are two of the closest, outside of people who got married, of course, two of the closest friendships that came out of the race, hands down. Even if it wasn't fully intentional, y'all's friendship is one of the closest ones. And y'all love each other well.
Aww.
Y'all see each other where you are, even when you're 17-ish hours away from each other, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
What is a piece of advice y'all would give someone who wants a friendship like y'all's, or wants to grow their friendships they have already?
Lose your luggage.
That's good.
Just go lose your luggage and see what happens.
Oh, yeah, just go lose it, see what happens.
I feel like it's a cliche word, but I do think that intentionality is everything to do with it. You know, choosing to be friends and being intentional. You say you're going to do something, you do it. You know, going and intentionally reaching out to the friend, intentionally showing how much you value them. I think that's important. And also showing them, not just being a light in their life, but showing them how they are in yours too. A give and take thing.
That's good. I like that. Both y'all's personalities just showed out, and y'all's answers right then. Lose your luggage. You know, be intentional. It's totally good.
I like that flip-flopped. Usually I'm like,
yeah.
The jokester side of you, though, Michelle.
Yeah.
Did you have anything you wanted to say, though?
Yeah, I agree with Rachel. It's about intentionality and who are you gonna dig your heels in with, and how much do you want that growth. So that's sitting through the hard conversations that you don't necessarily want to have and that are awkward. Yeah, just being there for that person. But it just kind of reminded me of this moment whenever I was with Rachel. I think we were in India and we were sitting in the mall cafeteria, and we were talking back and forth. But you know, with Rachel, it's not just like A to a B. It's like it's like we're gonna start at A and we're gonna like make a loop around, you know, maybe we're gonna zigzag a little bit. She's like, oh, look at that lady wearing that shirt, isn't it pretty? All right, hold on, I didn't forget what you were saying. Let me just say this right quick.
So true.
You know?
Oh man,
but for me, it just let me see that side of her. It's like, okay, even though she's distracted by the sparkly object that's in the window of this shopping mall, she's gonna comment on it, but she's also still paying attention because she hears me and she sees me and she's making eye contact. But it was just really funny to grow with her and like experience that in all of our conversations, because for me, I'm very like it was this, and then this is how we got there, and then it's just not that way for Rachel, and it's just so funny to see where we're going to end up in the conversation and what all she's going to bring into it. I just think it's hilarious.
There's a surprise confetti in every conversation.
Yeah,
amen. That is so true. That is so true. So what would y'all say, you were on the race, you were on both teams together, you did the thing, and then stupid Rona, COVID brought us home. How would you say choosing in has looked differently now living in other states and still wanting to pursue that relationship and that friendship? But how has that looked differently, and how have you grown from that?
Well, I was going to say how we stay connected is a lot with Marco Polo, that app where you can just send videos back and forth. My messages are usually like 20 times the length of hers, but she tries to make hers as long as mine. But that kind of helps that's what helps, I think, is purposely keeping each other up with our lives. Like with that, we don't do it often. I'd say like once a week, maybe. What do you think, Michelle? Once a week?
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, just kind of like, here's a rundown of my week, if anything, any stories to tell, and then she'll say, like, these are some new friends I've made where I am, and that, all the things like that. We have times where we get to catch up with each other, but for the most part, we keep up with each other. And then I think that we're always pretty intentional in planning a time. We just know we'll see each other again. Whenever it is, I'll see you probably in 6 months or so. One of us will go there, or I'll go there. Which obviously we haven't been home that long, but so far I guess might see each other twice. That was pretty good. But it's kind of like, I just know, like, we'll do it again. We'll figure it out whenever that time comes. So it's not going to, like, dwindle.
I love that. We're not just catching up, but keeping up with each other. I liked how you said that. Mm-hmm. That's really, really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, too, like, Rachel and I are both two people that don't necessarily, like, need constant contact with, well, for me, I don't need constant contact with anybody, but with each other, I have tons of friends that I just, maybe once a year call and say, like, hey, what's up? Like, how are you doing? Like, you just check in every once in a while. So I think that really helped too, because it's like, well, this has been fun, but also, like, we have to get back to, our lives, which, unfortunately are not in the same state, but like Rachel said, looking forward to making that time and making our friendship a priority, basically.
Yeah.
It's just going to be like a little bit longer time than if she was living in the state.
And I think to add on to that, with what you're saying, is that, like, we both do, we both have each other, we both have a purpose in each other's lives, but we both are pretty independent, and we both have other friends that we also pour into. Like, we both have, a lot of love to give to other friends that we also hold at a high value. So we kind of, like, I think that's just a healthy thing in friendships for people to have, for not to be, like, too inseparable, I guess. And it also reflects how we both kind of try to keep it on the down low. Whatever room arrangements would happen on, what is it called when we had that week, that break? What is that called? Debrief. They'd be like, okay, well, we know Michelle and Rachel are going to be together. We're like, what do you mean They're like, oh, you guys are over. Like, no, we can be with anybody. but okay, we'll be together. We, like, didn't really want it to be assumed that we were going to only care about each other type of thing. I just think that that's still reflected in our lives now, that we hold a lot of people to that value, I guess.
Yeah. So coming home, Rachel, you had mentioned the friend groups y'all have that you already built and what life looked like before you left the race, and then you come home from the race and you have new friends that you made, but you also had old friends. What did that look like for y'all coming home from the race and trying to just step right back into old friendships, or did you have to rekindle them, or was it just a completely different dynamic on your friendships? What did that look like?
I say for one friendship, it just changed a lot, because at the time there was just a big change in one particular friendship. I'm saying local friendship. I still have friends that I've been friends with, like, from childhood and older and high school, and to me, childhood is before high school, and college and things that I stay in contact with and I visit. But as far as where I live, when I came back, things changed a little bit with a friendship, and then another friendship changed a little bit too, because she's kind of been just living in fear with COVID, and then also I had two very close friends move while I was gone too. So that was just a little harder because I just kind of felt very, very, very lonely, which is weird because I just knew, like, I was like, I would never feel that way when I get back. But I did. But I would feel lonely except unless I was with my family. So it was actually kind of cool. I wanted to visit my family more, who lived 2 hours away. Yeah, so that was a big change, just like a dynamic change with 2 friendships, and 2 close friends moved. I've been blessed with a new close friend that at work that I've made in the last few months, and gotten to know her and her friends. So that's been really cool.
That's awesome.
For me, I was going through constant change. You know, I lived in Texas my whole life, and before going on to the world race, I was living in Michigan for about almost 2 years. And so then it was like from moving from Texas, living in Michigan, going on the race, and then coming home and trying to figure out where I stand in my friendships. And I have a core group here, and it's just 2 girls, and like I have a lot of friends, but there's just 2 of my very closest friends that have been with me, you know, the entire time. Even, you know, prior to the world race, I was living away from home, and I still kept in contact with them, but it was different when I moved back, because and the most, you know, mind-blowing, you know, conversation that I had with them, which you would think, duh, Michelle, but I just wasn't even, I realized, I've changed, but then my friend was like, you have to realize that I've been changing as well. And for me, I was just like, what? You know, I don't know why that was such like a shock to me, but I was like, how could I ever not have thought that, you know? And just realizing, okay, my friendship with these girls are still here. It's still here, and it's still solid. It's still strong. But now, what does it look like taking on their lives and the choices that they've made to change in their lives, and how can I form that into what I'm bringing home of how I've changed? And so that's where, you know, it comes in to the friendship of like, are you willing to dig your heels in? Are you willing to have the difficult conversations? Just different things like that. And so I've seen like a lot of growth just in the last year of me being home with them, which has been really awesome. And they're teaching me things, and I get to share experiences with them and teach them things. And then I feel like every time I'm just like, and there was this one time in North Africa where I spoke too soon. And so then they just go back to that moment, and they're like, oh yeah, we remember you telling us that story. And so I'm like, so just give me time to process.
That one time in your life you spoke too soon.
Just the one. So y'all got to become super close friends. What was it like getting to meet other people's friends when you came home? So Rachel, I know you went to Texas, and Michelle, you jumped in the truck and made it to the East Coast. What was it like meeting friends and being with each other, not on the race, but back in the States?
Michelle came to me. You met one friend, and then other than that, you mostly just met my family. I went to visit Michelle's family right before Christmas. I flew back home on Christmas Eve, and that was just cool because it was like, when it comes to her actually, I guess I met her friends for a moment before that when they were around, sort of closer to this end of the country. But then meeting her family and stuff, I think it just always helps you know the person better. Like when at the beginning of the race, you meet each other's parents, but don't even know the person yet, so you don't think about their parents. Just kind of helps you understand the person more. And as far as her 2 close friends, it was kind of cool because I felt like, because of Marco Polo, praise God for whoever invented that app, I felt like I kind of knew her friends already, which was cool. And I think there's friends of mine that she feels like she knows that she hasn't actually met yet. But yeah, so that was just kind of cool. It's like, I already felt like this makes sense. This is it, you know.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I decided to travel across country for a second time in my life, and I made a lot of stops along the way, but I went to visit Rachel and her family and met some of her friends and just kind of see, who Auntie Ray Ray is. And I got to meet her. P.T. Rack Rack. I got to meet her brother and sister-in-law and her nephews, which are the most adorable kids.
Oh, yeah.
They're the cutest.
Love those boys. And her parents are just really super awesome and inviting. And, like Rachel said, it's kind of like you already know the person. When you're on the race, you just, talk about who you know and your stories. And so I heard a lot about Bob and Eileen. And so I feel like they were already like my parents. They were giving me hugs as soon as I walked in the door. So living back in the States and visiting with Rachel just kind of felt like another day on the race, We're going hiking together. She's driving me through the Blue Ridge Mountains. We're doing something fun. We're doing something active.
You took going somewhere.
We are going somewhere with Rachel. So
I love that. One of my favorite memories, Rachel, with you from the race, it's honestly a tie, buddy, between our coffee shop date in North Africa. Rachel over here, we're sitting across from each other at her favorite coffee shop, and she just whips out Play-Doh. And she's like, we're going to play with Play-Doh today. And I'm like, cool. So we're sitting with Play-Doh in the coffee shop, making fruit baskets and all kinds of silly stuff. And then the other day was in the park when we put whipped cream on our hands and played jackpot with the kids in the park.
Yeah.
So that's just a little snippet into Rachel a little bit more. And Michelle, I have two. It would either have to be the moment that you drew the hands in my journal.
Panama.
Yes, in Panama. We were in Panama, and if y'all don't know this already, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast, but Michelle is one of the, hands down, most crafty and artistic people I have ever met in my entire life. And this girl straight up just listened to the Lord, and I gave her my brand new journal that I had. She was listening to the Lord and put open hands in my journal and wrote a whole spiel about it. Brought me to tears. It's fine. But that was one of my favorite moments with Michelle. And then the other one was in Spain. We're all sitting there, and Michelle's like, I've got something I've got to tell you guys. Just have a seat. And we're all sitting there. And
oh, yeah.
Hands down, like, if you know me, words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time, top ones up there. Michelle pulls us all in. We had a busy night. We had all been like, no, we're going to go do this, that. And she's like, no, y'all come in here for just a minute. We'll be quick. And she sits down, and this is one of the things I love so much about Michelle is I'm very quick to tell someone that I love them. Very quick. I will give them the I love you until they break that trust with me or break that bond with me. But Michelle's on the other end where she's going to build that relationship before she tells them and makes it something that's worth it. And we're sitting in there in Spain, and then Michelle just gets up, and she comes to each of us, and she looks at us, and she's like, Rachel, I love you. Shelby, I love you. Erica, Anna, Tiffany, I love you. And I was brought straight to tears. One of my favorite moments with Michelle on the race. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I wouldn't trade either of y'all for the world. Y'all are blessings to have as friends. That is for sure. Absolute blessings. That I get to see so soon.
I think I also, I was going to add that, I wanted to add too that I believe like that our team and our first team in general has been doing a good job staying connected. The majority of us on the first team stay connected and keep each other updated on prayer requests and things like that through a group message. And so we're going to be getting together soon, and it will be our second time getting all together, pretty much all together. We eventually saw everybody another time, but I just think our team has done a good job staying connected. The friendships that were made in our team together have been lasting. So
yeah, and I love that. I do remember at team changes, though, y'all got to stay together. It was Michelle, Rachel, Erica, and then Shelby and Anna. And I remember at the end of team changes, all of y'all running around, where's Tiffany? Where'd she go? Where's Tiffany? Where's Tiff?
Yeah.
And y'all came up, you're like, are you okay? I was like, no, I'm not fine.
We were all hurting for you, Tiffany. We were like, Tiffany's got to be with somebody from street team. She
out of all people to be on their own, it's Tiffany.
It wasn't great, but
Yeah. We felt really bad, but we had no control over the situation.
No control.
So.
But
you had a good team.
I did. Hindsight 2020, now getting to see what's happened and see the relationships that were built, I can see why I was there and that it's worth it. But every time I think about it, I cry, and it's fine. I'm a very emotional person.
Can we just share the story? I have to share the story of team switching at all.
Go ahead.
In North Africa, and I was freaking out. I was beside myself, and I don't remember where we were, but I pulled Rachel aside before team changes, and I was like, look, if you are not on my second team, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I just couldn't even see being on a team without Rachel. And so they give us a note that says what store to meet your team at, and I'm not a cheater, okay? And so
she's the patient one, I'm the impulsive one.
Yes. And so it was Erica and Rachel, and they both were cheating, and they showed each other their team, their name on their card, and
like
they were like, oh my gosh. They were like, yes, we're both on the same team. And then I, at that point, already knew, thank God, they're both on my team. And I was like, I'm just going to take a few laps and wait for the rest of my team, who I don't even know, to get to the store, and I will make a late arrival. And so what I didn't know is that during this whole time, Rachel is just freaking out, and she's like wondering, is Michelle on my team? Is Michelle on my team? And so then it's like one of those scenes at the airport scenes when Rachel stands up on this bench and she's looking out over the crowd and she spots me, and then I just start smiling and running, like it was like a slow motion type thing, and I like start running to her, and she goes, oh, it's like I see her slow-mo voice, are you on my team? And then it was just so funny, because then I just jumped up on the bench and then I hugged her, and that was the moment she like broke down and started crying. She was like, oh my gosh, no.
I had so much relief.
Rachel tears are some good tears, though.
Hey, that picture, because I think one of the girls was videoing it, and I took a screenshot of that video, and now it's on my wall because I love it so much.
I love
like
that.
She just looks like a hot mess, but it was all because I was on her team.
That's just raw, like loving emotions, though. Just because y'all built that up so long, and to lose that, and it's really funny that y'all talked about, hey, I don't know what I'm gonna do if we're not on the same team, because I remember Shelby and I were in the same boat, and we looked at each other on the rooftop in North Africa when we found out. We kind of left and went up there, and I looked at her and I said, I don't know why, but I just don't think we're gonna be on the same team, buddy, and we gotta find a way to stay in touch, and we gotta find a way to dig deep and get through it, and we did. So it's really cool that y'all did have that blessing, and that it only furthered y'all's friendship. So I'm going to end with one last question for y'all. if you could give anybody starting new friendships, having friendships now, whatever the advice may be, if you could give anybody one piece of advice on living life and healthy friendships, what would it be?
Consistency and just always showing up. Yeah, just keep showing up. It's not always going to be pretty. You're not going to always have, like, the best time, the best girls will sleep over. But just continuing to show up, and in this way, checking up on each other. And Michelle's going through some things right now with her family. And so just kind of not really, I don't ever really know what to say. So just like, how are you feeling today? You know, so I want to just ask her that sometimes. So I'd say that, just consistency of not waiting for the other person to make all the moves, but doing it too, and reaching out to them, checking in with them, being consistent.
I like that. That's so good. So good.
Yeah, for me, my word that I always use is intentionality. Just being intentional with anybody that you encounter, like, in your daily life, whether it's a friend or a stranger. And for me, like, my motto is just that everybody is worth knowing. And that's just kind of something that I've been trying to live by, whether it's like a 3-year-old child or, you know, an 80-year-old woman. It doesn't matter who it is. Everybody's worth knowing. And that's so funny that I just said that, because now that I see that you're tearing up, I realize that's what. Oh my gosh, how funny is that? You. I don't know. That was the Holy Spirit, girl.
It's fine. I'm crying, everyone. No big deal. Michelle's just bringing tears. Love you guys.
Girl, that was Holy Spirit.
That's a good word. Well, I definitely don't know what I would do if the Lord had not put y'all in my life. Y'all are such a blessing, such good friends to have, and I cannot wait to see y'all in such a short amount of time. Thanks for jumping on and just, you know, sharing stories about life and y'all's friendship and where it's been and where it's grown and where y'all continue to go. So I love you both. Thanks for being on my podcast. I know I'll have y'all back at some point. It's not the end of the road. So thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Enjoyed it.
Wow, what an absolute blessing it was getting to catch up and have some good laughs and great conversation with Michelle and Rachael. Right there at the end, Michelle brought me to tears when I was on the race with them. One of the biggest things I was working through and walking through was being known as worth it. Not only for myself, but then once learning that about myself, being able to implement that and show that to others. So I really, really, really hope y'all enjoyed today's podcast, and I cannot wait to talk to y'all again really soon. Bye, everybody.